Hello, hello. That's right, folks. This is SBG News and Views. And today, Robert and I are interviewing an incredibly special person, which we will introduce shortly. But welcome here. Thank you for being here. Thank you to our admins, our families, and of course, the audience, which is we the people, and that is who we pay attention to. Please, while you're here, folks, like, share, and subscribe. As you know, the mantra on Rumble lately is they've been knocking about 200 followers down at a time, and then we have to go back and resubscribe. And I got a bunch of emails that said that people were sure enough, they thought they're subscribed and they're not. So please check that. My lovely co-host today is Robert Imbriali. So we're going to welcome him here in a second. Please remember to visit screwbiggov.com to gain access to all we have to offer, whether it's Freedom in Action, uh, the movies, the cages, you name it. Remember your oath. It's all going to be there at screwbiggov.com. And of course, what we always tend to do here is we post all video clips we use. So you have something easy to share on Robert's Telegram page, which is Renegade Media Channel. That's Renegade Media Channel. So pretty great stuff today. Let me bring on our guests, which I am just thrilled to have here. Perfect timing, what's going on in the world. I consider this person one of the premier experts on MK Ultra, and unfortunately, it's she had the insider's view of being attacked and used with this mechanism, say, but she's also developed some amazing modalities to take care of it. For those of people that have it. So she's got a lot of information to delve into it today, and I have some special questions to her in regards to what's going on currently. Let me introduce to you my friend and somebody that's just amazing, Laura Worley.
Hi, Lewis. Hi, Robert.
Hey, Laura, so glad to be here with you and Robert. I'm just really excited about today. I mean, I get kind of up for some of these shows, but today I don't know why. It's probably, just your glowing, amazing self, but something about today I'm just really excited. I think we're going to get some breakthroughs for the people that they can really understand what this whole deep state MK Ultra satanic agenda is. And I know not very many people know more than you about this.
Well, what I thought you had asked me about the activation, like how that was going. And I thought, well, I think I should explain to you what that means, really.
Mhm.
So, if everyone can understand that MK Ultra was started in the 1950s, and ever since then, they have stolen families from generation to generation, and they take the whole family, not just one person. So if a person says they're MK Ultra, that means their parents, their grandparents, their children, their future children, unless they get somebody to break them free. So this is what our government does. They take citizens, politicians. They experiment on them in every kind of horrible way that would blow your mind, and you probably wouldn't even believe half the stuff they do. But they're being taught. I had to come to a conclusion one time, very recently, is I was getting all these people telling me these stories, and it was so horrible. It was worse because I had been raised in this, and it was even past my understanding. And I'm like, how could they come up with this? And the bottom line is they came up with it being taught by demons. That is how they do what they do. Because I don't think a human being can fully do what they do. But the process, oh, do you want to some?
Well, would you consider it a demon or is it an attachment to them in your observation?
I think they absolutely get taught by demons information, but they give a part of their soul for that information. And that is based on many levels of demonic downloads, attachments over years. And that's how a lot of the upper Illuminati Freemason receive their inspiration, so to speak. It is from demons. And so they trade off for that information though. And that's where we keep getting worse and worse and worse. And so I have a lot of passion to bring out the CIA and the
Mhm.
military because of what they do. Even to this very second, they're more worried about truly targeting like a citizen in the United States with their weapons, with, making sure they stay in line. So they're more concerned about their army. So do you know what the army means? I know you do, Lewis.
Yeah, but let's let everybody know.
So the army is the one thing that they absolutely have to have, or they cannot be successful. They learned that a long time ago. If they don't have an army, they cannot bring in all their crazy ideas. Who is the army? It is every millions and millions of MK Ultra victims. They have been trained since a little child to be a very, very, I would say, amazing soldier. And they all, and every single one of MK Ultra survivors have been trained to do unbelievable tasks, way past just the usual military. So that's one of their army parts, okay? The other part is the real military that they have put technology in, or they have used a certain amount of MK Ultra. They don't need to have a person like me all their life. They can just take them for a short period of time and get enough mind control in them. Number three, their third part of their army is the soldiers that have come through. So they have three parts to their soldiers. Their army is ready to go, and they are ready to go. And this has never, ever, ever happened before. Not ever.
Well, okay, so you've learned this information from, I believe, what, dozens and dozens of interviews and interactions with not only survivors, but people that are still under this MK Ultra program. Is that right?
Well, I mean, I learn an enormous amount from my clients.
Hmm.
I do speak to other professionals who work with survivors all over the world, but I say I would learn the most from a bunch of survivors who I help as a client. They are good teachers. And that's really how I get all the information, because they keep me up to date because they're still getting contacted. And then that brings us to activation.
So there's, I know there's different levels. So we have what I call media MK Ultra, where they propagandize everybody, and you can MK Ultra to a certain extent through the media, and then you have the in-depth, in-person MK Ultra. And are you saying that the millions that are MK Ultra out there are the in-person, in-depth? It's that sophisticated and deep?
All I can tell you, and I believe it is millions that are MK Ultra like me all over the world. Someone, I don't know where they got their research, but they said about 10% of Americans are under mind control. So that is between 12 and 13, I believe, million. So I believe, I can't tell you the exact amount. I don't even know if anybody
Right.
knows except the military, but there's millions, not thousands.
And are they getting so for maybe better words, but you snapped out of the MK Ultra, but are you still concerned that you can fall back into it because it's so powerful? And have you been approached where they've tried to do it, say in the past and then in the recent past?
Well, as you know, I had spent 20 some years going to therapy and not anybody really knowing how to help me. So this started in 1990. So I didn't really have anybody until 2005, and a specialist was supposed to have helped a lot of survivors. And we dealt with a lot of things I call the front programming, and that's Disney programming, things like that. And I thought I was free. No, I wasn't free. Do you know how I knew I was not free? Is because in 2015, because Hillary Clinton was going to be the president, they called almost all survivors back around then. And I got called back. And that was the hardest thing for me to really accept, is that after all my work over 20 years, they could still call me back. And that's how I learned about the New World Order Army, and how I learned about the true programming of the Core Foundation, which is a spiritual foundation that is based on the ancient religion. And if you guys will like to be blown away for a minute, all of our myths that we all think are so fun and cute from the Greek, mythology of
Hmm.
Zeus and Athena and Dionysus and Diana and all these, okay? They're actually demon gods that the occult of Freemason, Illuminati, the Druids, they worship these demon gods. They're actually demons that we're all thinking is so cute. Atlantis is not a myth. It to them, it's real, and they worship all of the characters that we say is a myth. That is the true core foundation, is the Kabbalah. That is the ancient programming that is done. And I will tell you honestly, very few people that as a survivor will has not found it. And they are not free. And they may be mad at me a little bit, but on my podcast, I've been telling them, if you have not removed your parts and you have not gotten rid of your demons, you are not free. And a lot of survivors don't want to hear that. They think if you have a few memories, you're free, and it's just not true. You can have a lot of memories like I did, and I was not free.
Right. So I know in the Patriot movement, there's a lot of people that delve into um, the Greek and the Egyptian mythology, and pyramids and so on and so forth. And they believe that there's some positive spiritual effect from them. Are you saying it's all just demonic?
Well, it's called the New Age, and the New Age is actually just put on by the Cabal to again trap people. And because those teachings really are the Kabbalah, because they use Metatron, Merkabah, the Metatron cube. They use all these, like the goddess and the Sophia and Mary. No, those are just a trap to trap them in this New Age belief that they're trying to put out there for everyone. I had somebody on my podcast that talked a lot about it. If you want to see what she actually joined the New Age and came to realize that it was nothing but a trap for her, with just a bunch of demons. They, people, they're not trying to really go after the demons, but they're naive, and then they get pulled in and they don't realize that they really are under a lot of mind control with that.
Interesting. Wow. So you mentioned something quickly called Disney programming.
Yeah.
Is that an actually a Disney thing that they do to their, I guess, employees or their characters, or is it part of their film? I don't understand what that means exactly.
Oh, okay. For programming for MK Ultra survivors, they do Disney programming. So everyone will have like Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella,
Mm,
the Wizard of Oz. Those are all the front programming. So everybody will have that. But that's to create the illusion of that's what your programming is. And that's what I thought it was. But that's not the truth. They are beginning in the womb at conception to create these people to be loyal to Lucifer. So it's really, they're building a Lucifer kingdom, but it's all very, very protected and not allowed to come out. So the front programming is Disney. You'll hear things like the computer or the hourglass. Those are our mind control programming of MK Ultra survivors.
so that's the front programs, and it's more. It sounds like it's more of a veil. So if anybody ever discovers it, they're like, "Oh, well, yeah, I might have had Disney programming, no big deal." But that's really not what's behind it. It's a lot deeper and more sinister than that. Is that right?
Absolutely. Like I had just a friend who he is not a survivor, and he wanted me to do ancestor clearing on him.
Mhm.
And even this person found out that even in his ancestors, there was Freemasons and there were Druids, and there were these cult beliefs, which automatically had his family line under demons attachments.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to get into kind of some of the fun stuff because I have some
Okay.
theories in regards to this, and I really want
Okay.
you to help me out with this. So my first question is, do you think Elvis Presley was MK Ultra?
Yes.
Okay. He has the markers of it. That's why I asked. So I've noticed, in fact, I'm going to give a real world experience right now. Um, people think of me as this masculine dude and so on and so forth. Here's the reality, guys. I love musicals. Okay. So just deal with it. I hope I didn't bust your bubble, but I love musicals and I love singing acts and performing. So what I do sometimes while I'm working or just because I want to decompress, I listen to clips from shows like The Voice and American Idol and so on and so forth because I love the young people I've never heard of before and just hear this wonderful, powerful voices. I have a belief system that most of them go in innocent.
Yeah.
But what happens is when their talent is discovered, then they start to MK Ultra them, activate them, and then you're going to see this switch. We've seen it with um, Miley Cyrus. We've seen it with Britney Spears. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. Even more recently with what she's
Taylor Swift?
no, well, yeah, that she's just a witch, but
Yeah.
I think she actually does the MK Ultra also, and she's very, very good at it. It looks like to me. But Ariana Grande, you see the switch. You see the switch when they all go through the innocence. So, but here's something I've seen, and I know you understand and know this. Here's something I've seen, and this is just a theory I have, and it's a trip. I believe that these stars that we fall in love with as general, we're like, oh my God, they're just the most wonderful person. I believe that they're MK Ultra to act like that,
Yeah.
right? In order to draw you in. So it,
Yep.
even and they're doing all this demonic stuff in the background, but in person they're just like because I watch the hosts on these shows and they're always like, "Oh my God, you put me in tears and you're amazing." And they seem so genuine. And then I had a theory, and tell me what you think about this.
Okay.
Remember the Ellen DeGeneres show?
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, she would always push the buttons of the top celebrities, and she would push their buttons. And I believe she was trying to get them to break their MK Ultra, and literally those people I would track would disappear for a week or two after they go on her show. So publicly, she tries to see it, and if they react in a weird way or negative way, it's like, okay, you need to go back in. We're going to fix you. Do you think there's anything to that?
That they take them back to reprogram them?
Yeah.
They absolutely do. I
Okay.
mean, usually they want somebody to go back every 2 to 4 years for reprogramming. People have said, well, when you get 30, they get rid of you. That's not true because by that time they've already invested millions into you. They're not going to get rid of you. They'll just use you for something else. And now, unfortunately, there isn't anybody, Lewis, that's come in to see me, I would say in the last couple of years that I have not found that does not have technology implants.
Wow, really?
Hmm.
So how do you take care of that?
Well, that's a darn good question because that is the military's, they have a new technology that is absolutely past what we know it is. And they've already implanted, you know how they're saying AI right now is the big thing and they're going to implant it in everybody's brain? They've been doing that for a while now.
Mm.
And it's just getting worse and worse. So that's their goal. They want everybody implanted.
And is there a way to get rid of the implant, or does it have a self-destruct device on it, like it puts some poison through their system if you try to get rid of it? How does that work exactly?
I don't know because the only thing I'm not an expert in AI, but they do use the satellites to send it to their DNA. So if you were standing next to the person, they would not get it because the let's say the frequencies are matched to their DNA and to the technology. So and they also are matched to a supercomputer. So they are absolutely able to control the body of a person. They're able to implant things. They have technology that they literally, and I was going to blow you away, is to listen to their thoughts. And the computer has been developed enough that they know what a person's thinking, and that's pretty horrible. It's not sci-fi.
And then they can, I believe they use is it voice to God or God to voice
Oh,
technology?
voice to skull.
Voice to skull technology, and that would be AI, I'm sure also, and then that could control them as well.
Believe it or not, there's actually real human beings that actually do the voice to skull. So you can tell what kind of trash they are, that they are willing to do that to another human being. I mean, these are people that mind the targeting, and they are real humans.
Mhm.
Yes, computer is doing things. There's a lot of people willing to do that to another human. I've had way too many people call me about it, and it's one of the most horrible things can be done because it's a day and night torture. It really is. If you do that voice to skull, I don't know. They have a little bit of win right now because the only way I think we take it down is if we blow up all of the satellites and
Mm.
all of their DARPA weapons. That's the only way to set millions free, by the way.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if an EMP would take care of that.
I don't know. You know,
Because
I wish I knew. I don't. Somebody just told me about today, Sylvia. No, wait. Gold. What is that? Kaleido gold.
colloidal gold and colloidal silver.
It apparently the Kaleido gold was just shared by somebody that if you've been particles.
Interesting.
There probably is. It's just that I don't know of those kind of things because I don't. It's not my
Right.
specialty. So
So I have a theory that I've been working on a lot lately. People aren't very happy with me with it, and that's fine because it's just a theory that there really are no white hats. There's gray hats and black hats. And it seems like there's, to me, two sets of Masonic controllers. One that may harm children and do disgusting, vile things, and the others would be more like a still want to control through finances and commerce and so on and so forth. And I believe that's the battle that we're seeing now. And we're still dealing with gray hats. And this is why I tell people how important it is for us to claim ownership ourselves, we the people. And then when we come together, that's when we can really make a difference. What's your thought on that?
I think it comes down to we the people if we want to win. There is no depending on the white hats, no way. And there's no depending on I think you're right. Gray, there may be gray and black, but it's going to come down to us stopping them. And I've always said that. And I still believe it's going to take us to get rid of this government because it's unsolvable. It can't be fixed.
Yeah.
So they've gone way too far.
When even through, I know the Constitution was manipulated post 1871, but even with the Constitution we have in place now, we can redress our grievances, and that's the first step. But people don't understand we really do have the power. We've just been, I believe, mass MK Ultra to believe that we don't.
Yep, absolutely. And if you probably have listened to Mike Benz on Tucker, it'll probably shock you on what our true government's doing for speech. So that is a mind-blowing thing, especially I think Robert, you told me about Google being a DARPA weapon. So, they're serious about keeping us under control. I can tell you that. They are serious about bringing in the New World Order.
So what's going to make the difference? I mean, so I know we say we have to, you say we have to take down the satellites and stuff, but let's assume right now that that's out of our realm of possibility. What can the people do to really make a difference?
Well, I think it's to keep talking about them doing what they're doing in public, like saying the CIA is involved in this. CIA, the military, they are doing these bad things, and every single soul has to know it. And then we say no more. We do not. We just get some trees and we have a nice hanging. How about that?
I'm good for that. Yeah, we can do. I think it's going to come down to public hangings, to be honest with you. And the good news is we're watching worldwide. The people are starting to rise up. So
Yes.
the next step is we're going to have to, if we find an evildoer and it's truly an evildoer, we're going to have to take that in our own hands because I don't see anytime soon the local police, by the way, who are MK Ultra.
Yep.
I don't see them doing anything. I am starting to see, thank goodness, there are a couple sheriffs that we're in contact with that are not just talking the talk, they're going to walk the walk.
That's
So,
nice.
and if they lead by example, and it's only about six of them right now out of 3,300, but you take a few to lead by example, it may give some others the courage to do the same thing.
Yep. I believe that right now the deep state is in fear of being so revealed, like the CIA lately, and all their different things that are being revealed. So that's why they are being activated, the soldiers of MK Ultra. And you'd asked me about the activation of kind of where we're at with that.
Hmm.
And I would like to just share, I have always loved, I hope I don't cry, but loved to work with survivors. But there's been a real weird thing happen. I have worked with complex trauma for 12 years, and the last going on 5 years, just survivors. And I loved it, and it was very uplifting and edifying, and there couldn't be anything more really to really say I'm really making a difference. But they've activated most of them, and they're not the same. It's not safe for me at this moment to really work with very many, because that I told you last time they activated the highest level in the Illuminati and
Hmm.
Freemasons. And so getting back to the personality that's really sweet and kind, they train the front personality to be very sweet and for everybody to fall in love, okay? But they have the parts that just got activated in the last 4 months, whatever, 4 or 5 months. And they have been on a call. They are the highest in the army, and they have been activated. Now, what's been weird is to see people be activated and to lose seriously someone I worked with for almost a year. And she had a long way to go, but she was activated to the point she was not there at all. Not even, I couldn't work with her anymore because her witchcraft parts just kept attacking me, because that's what they were called to do, is, anyway. So I have witnessed the things I'd never dreamed I would ever see in my lifetime. And I have seen these people change completely. Like, I just talked to someone who works with survivors in a different country. She said that this Christian girl, they have a chat and they would talk and just, say, they believed in God. So she said all of a sudden she starts writing in the chat, Lucifer's coming to save us now.
Oh,
And she's like, what the hell? And she wouldn't stop talking about Lucifer's going to save them. See, that's an activation. And so that's what they believe. See, those mind controlled parts of an MK Ultra survivor believe Lucifer is God and going to save them. He's offered in paradise. And so I even had somebody who's halfway along in their integration. She said, I was talking to my friend that's another MK Ultra survivor. And she said, this is only 2 weeks ago. And she said, Laura, she's not there anymore. Like, I can't talk to her. She's not there. That's what we're witnessing. That's what I mean by activation. It means those army parts are in charge, or other kinds of high up levels. They're in charge. They took over the mind, they took over the body and the spirit. And the real core self is gone. And I will tell you, it's the most horrifying thing I never dreamed would ever be possible. But I do need to say this. I don't like to say it unless I have more than one person say it. But this just happened a few days ago. Is a person was contacted with half of the message. That's a full message of the New World Order Army survivors. Remember when I told you they were going to gather people around and do their
hmm,
job?
hmm.
That they have been contacted with half the message. They've never been contacted with half the message before. So what's going to happen is people where to go, how to do it, what to do. I'm going to tell you another thing that'll blow your way. Is a survivor who was very high up, and we were getting a lot of good work done before she was totally activated. But she told me that a couple of her parts, that she has the code to be given to keep her safe when the New World Order is activated and all the chaos begins. She said all she has to do is give the code, and she is offered protection, a safe place to go stay with food, everything else while all the chaos is going on. She just has to have her code, and she has to give it to, like, military men or whoever, and she will be protected, but she still has to do her job.
And then, see, my take on this is, and here's my Lewis positive spin,
Okay.
is it seems like the activation is at a level higher than it's ever been
Yes.
right now. To me, that's an indication that the deep state is getting their butts kicked.
I think they're scared.
And so they're just throwing everything they possibly can out there, which and ultimately I believe, and I know you do too, because we've had this conversation, God wins and we the people win. So
Yeah.
ultimately we believe that. So maybe this scattered, desperate approach that they have will
Hmm.
be a complete backfire moment also, because I believe it's also why a lot of people are waking up.
Yeah.
And it it seems as if we hear a lot of stories, kind of what you just said, more of a partial MK Ultra activation, not the full activation, but I know you said that's to come. Um, very, very, very interesting. Do you, from the positive side, you've said to me privately before that you do believe God wins. Can you dive into that a little bit?
Yep, I believe with all my heart and soul. I feel like God has told me over the last couple of years that we are going to go through an event. There is no doubt about that.
Mhm.
But whatever they have planned is going to backfire on them to whatever degree, I do not know. But it's kind of like that verse in the scriptures. I'm sure I won't say it right, but if you dig a pit for someone else, you're going to be the one that falls in the pit instead of
Mhm.
them. I know that was totally
No,
messed.
we get it.
So that is what God keeps telling me is the pit they're digging for everyone else. Something's going to happen that they're going to be the ones falling in it. I don't know what that means, but I do know there is an event. There has to be, you guys, because they can't, the military, the CIA, everybody's getting so revealed now in the public, including the president, fake one, and all they're getting so revealed. They have to do something to stop this.
Right, and that this event could be just another part of the awakening. And folks,
Yep.
ultimately, if you're saying, "Well, what can we do? What can we do?" There's a lot you can do. First thing you can do is make sure that you talk to everybody you can. And I'm not saying specifically about MK Ultra, just about what's going on, so they can be part of the waking up. You have to take ownership now. That's in my opinion, and this will make a huge difference, because you could wake one person up who may end up waking 10, 100 up, 1,000 up,
Yep.
right? So you don't know the impact that you're going to have. So you don't know what you don't know. So folks, we really have to be uncomfortable, be willing to be uncomfortable and have these conversations, regardless of if you're rejected or not. Because ultimately, if it is to be, it's up to me, it's up to we as
Right.
well. And God gave us the gift of communication, so we need to use that. Um, Robert, I'm sure you probably have some questions in the background.
Can I share one thing real quick?
Sure, please.
Okay, you have to realize one person can make such a difference. Look at the bad one person in our history. Hitler. Look at one person, what he did for bad. So, yes, it can be the opposite. One person could change millions of lives. You don't know the power you have to change for good
Yep.
worlds. So, our world.
I
So,
agree. I agree. And before I bring Robert on, somebody made a good point in the chat, and I'm going to address this. And I addressed it a lot, but you may not have heard it. The person said, "People blow me off when I try to talk to them." It happens all the time, folks. What we need to do is we need to speak to people where they're at, not where we want them to be. And that what that means is you have to find their trigger points. So it mentioned fraud. It may be at 9/11. It may be Taylor Swift looking like the granddaughter of what's his name, Anton LaVey from the Church of Satan. She looks identical.
oh, really?
She does all the same things, and you can show them pictures. So what need to do is you have to find their hot button. So you go in very easy and small, and then they start to open up. It's like you have to crack that door open, and then you could walk through. So don't give up. Just try a different approach. Sometimes we come on too strong and we truth barf on people. Like if you don't know where they are, I don't think I would lead with adrenochrome. I you'll probably lose them for a year, and then you're going to have to wait for them to come back around.
Yeah.
Uh, Robert, what do you have for us?
Hello, hello. Had to unmute myself. I've been muted. I've been sitting here just listening to this fascinating conversation. Laura, my question is when we talk about people being activated, can you
Mhm.
explain that mechanism, how they're activated? Is it just words? Is it sound, symbols? Is it?
It's all the above. Um, what they'll usually, they can do it so many different ways, but usually in their mind control programming, they've already been set up to say, or been set up to, if you hear this message, it means this, you are to do this. If you see this color and Joe Biden goes out with a color and a message, you are to do this. It is a warning for this is about to happen. They can get messages with codes, colors. They can get it through the email, social media, phone calls. They can even get, unfortunately, through the technology, they can send the messages,
So they'll reach out
unfortunately.
to them individually? Is it through social media?
They will,
Wow.
because they have handlers right above them.
Mm.
So you have to understand that the little peewee has somebody above them, all the way up to President Biden, to above him, to above them, to above them. So it's very organized. So when the top says, okay, this is what's going to happen, then it has to go through the whole system, the whole structure of people telling this is what you're to do. It's go time. And they have colors set up. What's going to happen, it'd be nice if everybody tried to pay attention, is if some high up people get in the public and say the same statement, then we know they're giving a secret message to all the survivors, probably the soldiers as well at this point. Because I think it's going to be a go time pretty soon, myself, but I don't know.
So we can't shut it down. In other words, we'd have to shut down basically all of social media, all of regular media. And, it's kind of telling to see the outage today in all the cellular networks went down at the same time.
Oh, really?
That was kind of
Did not
interesting
know
to
that.
see. Yeah. 4 a.m.
I
this
will be
morning they all
honest,
went out. Yeah.
I don't know that I'm right, but I only see one way for us to intervene, and that's God to intervene at the level we need it in our prayers. Prayer is power, and the more people you put on prayer, there's this power that works against their power, and it's much stronger, but it takes us to do this together. And
Mm.
that's how I see God stopping it, really. I don't know. We have to stop them from ever being activated. That's the problem. If they've been activated, then we're going to have a little bit of a mess.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that too. In fact, we're going to start doing some prayer and manifestation um, events here coming shortly to try to help with this. And folks, especially Christians, when you hear the word manifestation, a lot of times you go, ah, well, reread the Bible. It talks about manifestation in the Bible through prayer. So
Yeah.
it's actually in there. If that offends you from somebody, it's actually in there.
Well, I'd like to tell you something real quick. I'll try to make it very short. It could to not do his original plan. He went in there and it was everybody fasted for him. It was at a low level that he literally let him go that day after surgery. That's how little the doctor had to do for him. He got to keep his tongue, his face, and he has just a little scar right there. So that's the power of fasting and prayer. Because my husband felt it. He said, I felt that power over me. So it's real.
That is amazing. Folks, I know many of you have heard the story of my beautiful wife and how she is the red pill expert, right? As much as I love her, do not take her advice. Do not take her advice. Let me tell you what she does. She is a truth barfer extraordinaire, but she has an advantage that we may not have, right? She's a hairdresser and she locks them, and she's so darn good that they're never going to go to anybody else. And she's always wondering because she beats up on them that she's like, oh, are they going to come back? And they always come back. But she locks them down in her chair until they get it. And she shows them evidence. I'll give you an idea. And this is a tool that you can definitely use because she uses this. She taught me this. I didn't even know this. She says, so you hear, she'll say something to him. So how many genders are there? And many times they him and oh, I don't know because they want to be politically correct. And they'll say, oh, well, there's two. And they go, well, if you ask Google, Google's not going to tell you that. They're going to tell you there's 72 genders. And they go, no, that's not true. You go, yeah, it's a propaganda machine. And she'll literally bring it up on her phone. She goes, how many genders? And Google will say 72 genders. She says people wake up almost immediately. They're like, what? How could they possibly say that? So, guys, there's little tools that you can use out there. I would suggest to use just the little door openers, which are very, very powerful. Laura, if we can you hang on for about another 15 minutes at least?
Hmm.
Because I would love the audience to ask some questions through live chat. And I have one already from T. Miller. But guys, if you're going to ask questions, you need to put it in all caps because there's a lot of chat going through and I want to see exactly what they are. But this is an opportunity to ask Laura some questions. I think it'll be kind of fun for everybody because many people are now familiar with you, so that's even better. Um, Laura, T. Miller Indigo Blue says a question for Laura. If you get someone to break you free, do the evil ones come after you once you leave?
Yes. They don't want to let you ever go. And the only way you get true freedom is you have to get what I just said, the core foundation programming out. You have to release your programming. I know this sounds weird, but you have to release the demons. You have to let go. You have to get out of you what they've put in, and you have to integrate your mind. If you don't integrate your mind where all the parts have been split, your mind has been split thousands of times in a lifetime of a survivor from in the womb till whatever. If you don't integrate them, they will always have the ability to get a hold of you.
And I know a friend of yours and mine, Kathy O'Brien. She indicates that it's very powerful that you actually use pen and paper to write out because it activates something. Can you detail that? Because I know you believe that as well.
For me, writing helped me to remember. So that's what writing did for me. But for me, it didn't heal me as far as, removing the programming in the ancient religion programming.
Mhm.
But what it did do is I did not know Kathy at that time, but a therapist told me to write. And when I started freehand writing, which means you do not use your logic mind and you can ask your mind a question and then you just let whoever, like your part inside or just you, your unconscious, take the pen and write and ask questions like, why don't I remember any of my life? And then just let some part of you tell why you don't remember your childhood. That's a common one. And the writing is a freehand writing. You do not care about grammar or anything.
Now, ultimately, I know people use several tools to do the same thing. So, for example, you and Kathy are recommending you write down, you ask the question, and then your inner spirit will answer that for you. Pretty much that's what you're saying, correct?
Yeah, there
And
is a
then
little tool that you can use too that get to your unconscious to answer a question is you say because. So you ask the question and then you say because, and then your unconscious will answer. There's another way to get your unconscious subconscious to answer, and that is this. If I ask you a question, Lewis, and I say, I want you to tell me the first answer that comes to your mind. I don't want you to think about it. That's your unconscious answering
Mhm,
honestly and what the truth
mhm.
is. And then your logic comes in and says, nope, that's not right. So
I use
that's
that
another way to
daily,
get
by
to
the
the
way.
truth. Okay, awesome.
Daily. That's exactly what I do. So I'm absolutely so happy you said that.
Yeah, that's a good way.
Oh, we do have some questions flying in here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Buckle in. All right, here we go. By the way, Robert, if you have any questions yourself, just pop in anytime
Okay.
because you're the man, you're the myth, you're the legend. All right, let's see. This is from APW01. What would an activated MK Ultra person look like?
Okay, an activated person who is ready to do their thing. They if you know them personally, if you don't know them personally, I don't know that you're going to be able to tell because not all MKL not there to keep under the cover. They are not to be noticed. So you have to know the person first. And then if you know the person and you see a personality change that and their behavior change, then something has been triggered in them. And
Okay.
I think you have to know them. And
And
then
then
if you see a personality come out, then you really know.
right. And Joey G kind of tagged on to that. He said any telltale consistent signs of extreme cases of MK Ultra.
Are you ask okay, so the extreme of what we're all going to see is if they do get activated, they're going to be soldiers and they're going to tell you you either go over here or I will shoot you. They will not be a person. They will be a soldier. They will not be you to change their mind or change to stop them. That is extreme MK Ultra. That's you will see the kindest, sweetest person. And once they've been activated to that point, They are no longer there. They're soldiers out and they're going to do their job, period. So we need to understand that.
Yeah, I've been told the same. They almost get kind of glossy-eyed, and it's just it's very robotic. Would you say that's a good example of that?
Well, I can tell you, and I don't know that you're going to understand what I'm saying, but a MK Ultra survivor, when they are in there, a lot of times they are absolutely trained not to show you that they're in a different personality. Their switches are very slight and you don't see them, but I notice it in their faces and their facial change and how they look. But one way you can tell if somebody's under MK Ultra is one of their eyes, it's usually right side, is bigger than the other. And that is, you can tell somebody is under their mind control state. That's how I know anyway. But then I can pick up somebody under mind control anyway. So I can pick somebody up that's an MK Ultra survivor right away.
That's it.
I don't know how to explain that.
So I'm going to shorten one of these questions from CN Stewart. They're asking do you have like, what are your top three recommendations as a signal disruptor? And, also if they're in a large group or gathering, is there something that we can do to thwart this?
Do you mean to thwart it as far as not
Like
happening?
to snap them out of the MK Ultra. So, for example, when I've seen people in a trance before, and I use and Robert's familiar with this because Anthony Robbins teaches this, and it's a pattern interruption. So, I will do do or say something weird like, "Did you see that purple elephant yesterday?" And what are you talking about? Or you say,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
is a lizard on your shoulder? You say things like that, and next thing you know, they come to life. Is anything like that could be used for
You could
this?
try that. You can try that and see if you can bring him back. It's better if you know him so that you can do it. It's all kind of new territory, guys, because in the past, that's why MK Ultra is called MK Ultra, is because once they get in that state and they've been activated, usually you have to have a code to shut them down and to go back into not that state any longer.
Yeah, which is the quote code that the baddies created too. So it's kind of
Right.
hard
Well, one
for us
thing
to
we
get
could
it.
try, you guys, is just if I'm talking to you for the worst case scenario that they've been activated, they're doing their army thing. I'm gonna say yes.
Okay. All right. And then here's another question. It says, Laura, from my understanding, the handlers that control the army men who are MK Ultra are the higher up Marines like SEAL teams, etc. Is this true?
If you're just talking about not the MK Ultra survivor, but the soldiers that are under MK Ultra, you are going to have people. I hate to say this, but Millie was actually over a lot of soldiers, and so
Yeah.
you're going to have people like that. Yeah. I don't know if this is true. I was told that anybody that's in the SEAL team is MK Ultra. They have to have the ability to split their mind because the test to get into the SEALs team is only set up for a multiple personality. That no regular person can endure what they put them through. And I don't know if that's true, but I do trust that person. So I don't know. We'll see if that's
That's
true.
interesting. Well, it makes sense too. Question, do colors have specific actions that go with them,
Yes.
i.e. red, green, yellow, so on and so forth?
Yeah. Yes, they will usually use a color because that's part of the code. They won't get up there and say numbers, so they're going to say a message. I saw something real weird yesterday is a podcaster who is a MK Ultra survivor. She wrote something and then she put the real statement, the full statement on her channel. I don't know if that was to activate anybody. I'm not going to say what it is because I'm not going to activate anybody.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
But the whole statement was there. They can change the statements, but that statement was fully on there.
Yeah, that's scary. An ex-girlfriend in my town the last few months by very young adults. What are signs to look for of MK Ultra? And do you think that could be MK Ultra?
It could be MK Ultra, probably is, but they're going to be angry. If you see a lot of anger and just out of control behavior, a lot of young adults are going to act out what they're doing to them. And so you're going to see a lot of kids act out what's being done.
Hmm.
So it's usually the anger is a big one, and then just, going acting kind of crazy because they don't know how to handle all that stuff.
Yes. Okay. And a concern of somebody is, are kids more vulnerable because of they never put their phones down and their
Yep.
devices?
Yep. They're after the children. They don't care about the adults. They need the kids.
And we know that they do mass MK Ultra through the devices themselves. So I think it's important for us to pay attention to that.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. This one is for Lewis and Robert. What about a prayer rally like the trucker rally? Things thinking
Yep.
hands across America. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is it printed and LED in unison? Imagine the power of that. Well, the good news, Kelly, is we're actually working on something like that. So you're in this collective consciousness of ours, and you already knew that. So that's pretty cool.
Well, somebody just asked me to do a worldwide fast, and I said, "Well, my reach is very limited because they shadow ban me quite a bit. But maybe we could all try to ask all podcasters to tell their channel that we're
Yeah,
going to do some kind of prayer or something."
interesting. I'm starting a 3-day fast tomorrow, funny enough. So.
Okay.
And I put it out there. Now you guys have to hold me accountable. So say, are you still on it, Lewis? Are you a failure? Here's where we have two more questions, it looks like. I'm a 63-year-old female that experienced SRA in early childhood, and I'm wondering if it's possible to have the type of programming you have mentioned. So far, I'm not aware of any, but am still asking.
Of course, I can't say what you do or do not have, but usually SRA will have MK Ultra because they're pretty much the same people. So,
Yeah, and as you know, and I'm just going to explain it to people, they use SRA to break you, to split you, if I'm correct, and therefore it's easier to MK Ultra you. Is that right?
yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
they love SRA families because they know that they will keep the secrets. That's why they get the kids from SRA
Okay.
families.
Yep. All right. Here's a tough question, so I think we should tread lightly. But
Yeah.
Freedom Liberty Lover says, my husband is an Army Green Beret. Could he be MK Ultra?
You already know the answer, what I'm going to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
And if, I'm going to tell you, I mean, I witnessed them do when I went back, when they brought me back in 2015, I witnessed what they did to every military group. And they were putting a special kind of technology. And they were paraded in front of all of the elites, every governor, every the president, the whole Congress, Senate, whoever is part of this was there. And this was they just thought it was wonderful. So, yes, I do feel if they have been into the military any length of time, this is my personal opinion, so please take it as that, is I feel like if they get a hold of them for any length of time, they're going to MK Ultra them. Because you don't have to have a person all their life to get the mind control in.
Right, and some people, would you agree the MK Ultra just didn't take very well, or do you think it takes on everybody?
Well, I only can talk about it as survivors. When you're a kid, you have two choices.
Okay. Do you believe the military, some of them are clones, and if so, what percentage of them?
Okay. Oh gosh. All right. I believe because I've witnessed, and I also have had many clients that have testified that pretty much all the survivors have clones now to be soldiers. So there's not just the MK Ultra person. They have clones of them. They've taken part of their consciousness and their DNA and they have a zillion clones for the soldiers. And I did forget to speak about that. They will be using them in the New World Order Army.
Wow,
And
wow.
yeah, it's not just for the elite. They need soldiers. They don't care about, well, anyway, to this level, they just want soldiers. That's all they
Mhm.
need.
And Robert, do you have any final questions here?
Yeah, I do. Certainly the way Laura's explained this. And by the way, Laura, they're raving about you in the chat room. So
Are they
Thanking
okay?
you so much for sharing this and being brave and coming on camera to talk about this stuff. Not easy topic for sure. It's making me a little queasy, actually. It's just sort of like,
Oh, I'm
because
sorry. I'm
well,
sorry.
because it's real, right? So when you have a physical reaction to it, there's truth behind it. So it's not like, oh, Laura's just making this up, that kind of thing. It makes me think that the reason we haven't seen is probably because they have this control. The other thing that you're making me think of is we have a lot of podcasters on our side, in our world as well, who we have seen their personalities completely shift. They were really friendly, really loving, really great, and all of a sudden they start attacking fellow podcasters who's supposed to be on this side of the ball.
They've been activated.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
that's the only explanation, because people change so quickly. It's like, well, wait a minute, you were with us yesterday. Now you're attacking the very
Because
people that
that's
you
their
came up
job,
with. Yeah.
remember?
Yep.
The higher up people have been activated to go after podcasters, anyone revealing the truth of the cabal, the deep state.
Yeah.
So these are very high up people. Now, the problem with all of this is there's very few people that know they know they're under mind control. That's the greatest,
Mhm.
I guess, strength that the cabal has is very few people get their memories back. So it's pretty, they just live a lot of their life not understanding why this and this happened, but they're under mind control. I know God's waking us up. I know He is a society, but most people don't even know they're MK Ultra.
Now, what if somebody suspects a loved one of being MK Ultra? Any suggestions for them?
I would pray and ask God what to do, really. And then if He says to talk to him to kind of share thoughts, then do that. So I say go to God because He knows what to do. So
Right, right. There's been multiple questions really about do you think Vietnam vets can be MK Ultra or were? I would say absolutely, although they were really starting to perfect it then. So it was not just MK Ultra. There's another form of brainwashing that they used that DARPA also uses on the public now. So it could be both, but I think the answer is yes.
see more. I think it's because what they've done to him with MK Ultra.
That makes sense.
Yeah, well, it could also be this though. So my son has a friend. There, as you know, two of my sons are in the Marines, one's in the Air Force, and his friend was the most upbeat, fun, happy guy, enjoying life. He went, I believe it was to the Middle East for a little bit. He came back and he was just massively depressed all the time on the borderline suicidal. And my son just kept asking him over and over and over, and he wouldn't tell him what's going on. And finally, he just stopped and he said, I realize that we are not the good guys.
Mm,
And I think that's part of it because
yeah,
they're asked to do heinous things,
right.
and the guilt is so high when they come back that they and plus or not even the guilt, it could also be just that they're just so disappointed that this facade that they believed was righteous was
Right.
exactly the opposite.
Yeah, definitely. I
Interesting.
definitely think that's huge.
Hey, Robert, what do I got here? Robert,
You have
one of
a
your
Mars
favorite.
bar.
Exactly. One of your favorite things ever.
One of my favorite things ever is right. Yes. Should we do a little spraying here to look a little
There
younger,
he
look a little
goes.
good? Yeah, why not?
I
Tomorrow we're going
sprayed
to get
before I
to.
came back on.
That's right. We're going to see tomorrow Bruce Poppy joining us for the show, and he looks like he's 16 now.
He has gotten so much younger. I can't believe it.
He
It is
sprays all
true.
Especially
day
with his
long. Like, he
curls.
doesn't do anything else in his day. He just sprays and sprays and sprays, and he goes through a bottle a week. It's crazy, but
Are you serious?
he
Sprays all
uses it a
day?
lot. Yeah, he uses it on his
Oh,
head
wow.
too.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Neumi Skin, folks.
Yeah.
This is a glutathione, nanoparticleized glutathione. It goes right into the skin. Helps you with wrinkles, helps to tighten the skin up a little, helps to lighten the skin and remove liver spots and things like that. And the ladies are telling us, hey, we don't have to wear makeup anymore. And it makes you look a lot
I'm
younger.
not
And
there yet.
well, yeah, it's really kind of interesting. And you could look at this photo here and see before. This is 4 weeks, and this is 8 weeks out. This woman's changed quite a lot, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Quite impressive. So yeah, Lewis and I are big fans of this. Bruce is a big fan of it. We all the people that we invite to use this are loving it as well. And if you want to get it, there's a link in the description below. Just go into the description of whichever channel you're on, and you'll get the link, and you'll be able to partake in that. The Neumi Hers for women helps with those time of the month issues, menopause, hot flashes, that kind of thing. This is a botanical, it's really great. And the glutathione that you ingest is this one, Neumi Swish. And what you do is put that under your tongue, and it goes under sublingually, is absorbed under the tongue and goes right into the bloodstream. So the glutathione doesn't get destroyed as it does with capsules and tablets and other things that are on the market. The digestive system, not too friendly to glutathione. So you get it right into the blood that way. So thank
It's
you for
funny,
your
Robert,
support.
is how my wife, how I know she loves Numi Skin is yesterday she pulled me aside. She goes, "Honey, you need to start using that on your arms and your hands." I'm like, "All right now."
Yep, you can use it anywhere you
So
want, right? Not just the face.
she's a believer. She's like
Well, you
you're
look
looking
really young too. Like your hair's
well.
got, I don't remember where it used to be, but your hair's gotten quite a lot
It's dark.
darker.
Yeah.
I know it's crazy. That's a side effect that we didn't even expect. So,
You
um,
cannot.
uh,
So, Robert, we need to see your hair going dark. Now we will really be a believer.
Yeah,
it
I
Okay.
know.
actually, if you
Mine
look at the
hasn't gone.
in the back of his hair, though, like I pointed out to you last time I saw you, it's starting to get dark
It's
back
getting
there,
darker. Oh my gosh.
especially towards the bottom.
I'm
Yeah,
going to do the show
it's
looking the
crazy.
other way.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't need to see this
So
face
it's
anyway. I got a face for radio. Laura, tell
me
us
too,
about
brother.
the books that you have available here. I'll put them up on
Thank you.
screen.
Oh, thanks. The first one is, I think, for everyone to read. It's just very, very mild so that you can understand why and what they do to create mind control, slavery, what the cabal is about. It's just a real gentle way at looking at the information that you need to understand. Book two is more for the survivor and the professional to know how to remove the deep ancient religion mind control programming to get rid of demons, to integrate your mind. Well, I use a lot of holistic modalities, so I put them in there of how to help yourself because you do need some way to help yourself with pain. Because when you deal with these things, pain comes up and you need some modalities to help yourself release it. And so that's what's in there. And it's changed my life. I've used them for the tapping I love, and body code's my favorite. We go to the courts of heaven. We have God on our side, and he helps heal a lot. But he does expect us to do our work. He expects us to find out what happened to us. And the answer is no. You cannot not look at your life. Just because you don't remember does not give you an excuse of not trying to find out what they've done to you. You can never be free until you know what they've done. And I believe that's true for someone who can't remember their childhood. And we're just talking about abuse of some kind. You still, if you want to live a life worth living, you have to understand what's happened to you. And God will definitely help you do that. And there's holistic modalities to help you do it. But you can't run away from you. And a lot of people try to, but it doesn't work. So I say let's use the tools and get free and live a free life. And I'm not just talking to survivors either.
Beautiful. And Laura,
LauraJWorley.com is the website. You want to go find those
right,
books. They're available.
LauraJWorley.com. And also, Laura, how about your Rumble channel?
It is Puzzle Pieces Together podcast on Rumble. It's mainly to show all things lead back to MK Ultra. We're kind of going towards that kind of a take. But we bring in all kinds of information, but I want to teach people things. So sometimes I just teach on the podcast, and then sometimes I do an interview. So
Excellent. Well, we appreciate you so much, Laura. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. This is huge information, and everybody check out her healing modalities too, because I think that's extraordinarily important. And the stuff works even if you haven't been in MK Ultra. So
yep, absolutely.
it's real good. And I'm sure she would like to work with a couple of people that haven't. Maybe take a breath of fresh air from that. Laura, we appreciate very much. Folks, thank you. We really appreciate you and Robert, as always. Thank you very much. You guys
Thanks,
have a great
guys. Thank
good
you for
night.
having me on.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow for a really fun show with Mr. Poppy and I. Take care.